Hi, DePotter here. This is going to be a long run here, but you're going to listen to this. I had a lady, her name, this is stage 2 of my endeavor. I had a lady, her name was Tina Lambert. She lived in Clearwater, Florida. I don't know if she's still there or not. I got to look her up. She had Huskies. She had one Husky, and that was Mally. And another Husky, Amzie, I got from a guy named Patrick Swayze. Yeah, that was his name, Patrick Swayze. I guess his last name was Swayze, mom named Patrick. And there was my dog, too. This is the roughest dog to get along with. And I said, well, Tina, let's see what happens. Let's see if they can get along with Noogie. If they can get along with Noogie, they can go with me. I mean, a lot of things happen in this whole thing. So, but what happened, the dogs got along with Noogie, no problem. Tina was very happy, so they can come with me on my dog sledding adventure. Here's the hotel that my mother was staying in, the Best Western. It was there, it's right beside Edgewater. It's called Edgewater. And that's where they were staying when they got to Duluth, Minnesota. When they got to Duluth, Minnesota, right here is the airport. This is the airport, and it looks desolate because it's very cold outside. I think it was like maybe 5 degrees below zero. Nobody out there. And that's in Duluth, Minnesota. My mom showed up with my friend. She was flying in on the same flight. This is my mom right here, and there's my friend Corliss Bryant. She was coming in from Florida in St. Petersburg and got up there to Duluth to see the race. The race was called the John Bear Grease Sled Dog Race. On there, I don't want to mess her name up, but I'll get her name in the descriptions. She was along with me. She was my videographer. And this is Christopher. That was Normstrom's son. That was Susie and his dad's. That was the son. And here was Bontina right there, my mother and me, and my daughter Candace, the smallest one in the middle. Susie and Gary Normstrom. See how the Lord brings that back, the Holy Spirit? Susie and Gary Normstrom. That's their son. She was up there, and she was the videographer, and she got along with all the dogs. Beautiful. This is just a standard shot of all of us together. The other lady that was with Bontina did not. She showed up, but an altercation happened, and she went home, and I was left with just Bontina, one person to be my dog handler when I got up there to the race area. Everything is sliding down. When I got to Duluth, we all got and went to McDonald's and had something to eat just for a little bit. This is in 2003. And there's Corliss Bryant, and there's Christopher was there, and there was Bontina. Here's a candid shot. It was just my mother and Bontina that's supposed to be my handler and me. I think it was almost heading up to maybe 10 below zero that day outside. Here's my sister Anitra. Now that's another one. She went up with me. That's my sister from coming in from San Antonio, Texas. She was up there to be a videographer too, to videotape the whole thing. And there's my best friend Corliss Bryant, and this is her, I think it was her nephew, or it was her nephew, and that was Bontina. That's supposed to be my dog handler. She could have been my dog handler, but she was too cold. She said, no, I can't do it. And I understood that. Gary and Susie Normstrom could have easily been a dog handler, but I didn't want to put them through all of that. They're old enough and they were good enough, beautiful, to be to sponsor me when the race started. They sponsored me at their house. Beautiful. I thank God for them. Here's the road, the long road up there. When I got up there, I had to practice. I was there like maybe 2 weeks early before the race started. And because my dogs have never seen snow before, they had to practice. And the trails it was getting dark and all. I'm going to play you a little bit of the Hobo Jim song right here so that everybody would know that this is it. I'm just going to turn to pictures.
Well, way up in Alaska, the state that stands alone, there's a dog race run from Anchorage in the Nome. And it's a grueling race with a lightning pace, where the chilly winds do wail beneath the northern lights, cross snow and the ice. It's called the Iditarod Trail. We'll give me a team and a good lead dog and a sled that's built so fine, and let me race those miles to Nome 1049. Then when I get back to my home, hey, I can tell my tale. I did the Iditarod Trail. Well, the race it won't be easy for the masters.
That's my daughter, Jellousey.
And some of them will make it and some of them will fail. But just to run that race takes a tough and a hardy breed, and a lot of work done by the dogs that run across snow with a whistle and speed. We'll give you a team and a good lead dog and a sled that's built so fine, and let me race those miles to Nome 1049. Then when I get back to my home, hey, I can
She had to learn. She was too young to be my handler. She was taken across the ice all by herself. When we go out to practice, she was in the front with the snowmobile. There's the dogs.
Well, just pulled out of safety. I'm on the trail all alone. I'm doing fine and picking up.
Being socked in by a storm.
There are no sled tracks in front of me and no one on my tail. I did the Iditarod Trail. Well, give me a team and a good lead dog.
I had people that went out and practiced with me. My daughter took a picture because she was on the snowmobile and stopped and took a picture as I whizzed by. Peter McCullen, he owns White Wilderness Adventure. He was a musher and he took me out to help me out. Peter McCullen. He asked me, where's my dogs? And I said, in the van. And he says, where's your sled? In the van. He just gave me a really ugly look, like that can't happen. But there's my sled right there, the purple on it. And there's my dogs. My dogs ate the picture. And there's Peter McCullen right there in his dog thing. He puts his dogs in a kennel cage. Like, I came to his establishment so he can take me out to go mushing. That was nice. But it was an all-day thing. See, his sled is on top. The Iditarod Trail by Hobo Jim. And that was it. When they got out there, he realized that they were really good. My dogs were really good. They never seen snow and they were kicking up like they had done this.
Well, just pulled out of safety. I'm on the trail
there's his team right there, and here's mine, keeping right up with them. But when I got back, Hobo Jim's song, the Dinner on Trail. When I got back, I had to put him out on the click because my dog handler wasn't there. I had to practice. I had to practice. Okay? Because I'm the underdog. I went out with him again. And there's his sled. He has a little sprint sled. And we practice again. And here's my dogs where I have to gather them all together and put them all in the van, feed and water them and all that. It's snowing. And that's what I had to do. Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. And after I get them all together, the next day, I hit the trail again. See that? And then Mr. Normstrom was trying to tell me that you can use this trail here with the dogs. I was going down this trail, and he says it'll loop around and come back and take you to the ice. So I parked out there on the ice. Well, as I was getting going, my daughter was with me. She was sitting inside the basket, though, but the dogs were running very well, very well. And I didn't want to disturb them because they was doing very well. Well, they were good. They were going on into the night. Start getting dark. And then when I got back to the trailer, to the van, I had to put them all in. They were all quiet. And they sat there quietly. And then we go back on the trail again, practicing. Okay, I'm trying to get this as out of the way as possible. 12 minutes have gone by. But here's the guy, and before you start the race, everybody has to meet at the Radisson Hotel. And what they had at the Radisson Hotel at that time, this guy, he's related to John Bear Grease. He was going to kick off the whole, this is how you get your numbers. So they draw it like a lotto to give you the number to run, you know. So he was there, John Bear Grease's great-great-great-great-grandson, the one that actually started the John Bear Grease sled dog race. That's the one I was going to do in Duluth, Minnesota. Here's the guy at the Radisson. He was going to kick it all off. And, of course, you see a lot of people that was there at the race at that time. Gary and Susie Normstrom was there. They were my sponsors and had Hopeful Eye for me and housed all my dogs. I had 9 dogs. I had to bring 9 just in case one folds up. And they were out there with me on the trip. And they supported me. A lot of people were there getting their numbers. They draw it like a lotto. You get your number. And they had a meal to go along with that. It was like a pomp and circumstance kind of thing. My daughter, Kadesi, was there. I was there. My mother was there. Showed up for that event. And we were all waiting on the numbers. And all I can say, I was sort of, I would say I had the butterflies because this is my first time ever doing this. And there's a lot of numbers along the wall. And there was a lot of people in this race. And I was doing the mid-distance race of the John Bear Grease sled dog race at the time. It was the 150 miler. That's mid-distance. And the whole distance was 200 and some odd miles, I think, or 300 miles. Okay, now I'm just going to turn pictures. I'm going to turn pictures here, and I'm going to let you hear the same thing that other people heard when they were with me on the ready to do my endeavor. And that's how I got lost in the cares of the world, and I was just thinking like by myself, like I can do this by myself, but I needed that Holy Spirit. But at that time, I set him to the side and I said, I'm going to run on this. And this is why everybody wanted to put their hand in the cookie jar, because they heard this. Let me see, can I get this started? I'm just going to turn to pictures. Right here, all these pictures are me. It's about, it's like the sign-in of the dogs. You have professional vets that come out, and they sit there and assess every single one of your dogs. And if anything is wrong with them, they see that they can't make it, and they don't have the right muscle mass or the right, body buildup, or their feet is tattered or whatever, you're scratched out the race. You have to start off with 8 dogs running, and you have to have 5 dogs to cross the finish line. So that means you only can have 3 drop dogs. And I brought 9 dogs up there with me, so they had to assess all 9 of them. But I'm going to let you hear this little clip right here. I recorded it all in the car so that you can hear it. Okay.
Hello?
Good morning, and we're looking for Deidre Morris.
Yeah, this is she.
Deidre, it's the Bob and Mark radio program calling you from Alaska.
Wow, that's nice.
How are things in St. Petersburg?
It's like about 42 degrees here.
Okay, well that's close.
Yeah. Warm.
Yeah.
So
What you
we
need
call it warm.
what you need to do now is subtract about 80 degrees, and put yourself behind your dog sled team, and prepare for about a 2-week journey.
Yes.
Now you do understand that first of all, let everybody know that Deidre Morris, she lives in Florida.
Yes.
She's been training in Florida.
Yes.
She's already wrecked a couple of bicycles, and
I have.
and she's actually training to be in the Iditarod.
That's awesome.
In Florida.
That's amazing.
Okay.
When's the last time it snowed in St. Petersburg?
Never.
Never. Now, Deidre, I have to ask you, what in the world are you thinking?
Well, the thing is this. I am originally from Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Okay.
Okay, so I worked with the Pike and San Isabel National Forest for like 6 years, working up in the mountains above 14,000 feet. So I know what the cold is. I know how blizzards come through, white out. I know about all this good stuff. I know about temperatures plummeting 40 below and even below that, and especially with the wind chill factor. So, and since I work for the animal service, I was a dog catcher for a year, and then I worked I'm working as an ACA now, working around vet techs. They know all about the dogs, all about the nutrition, the diet, the feed, and everything else.
Yeah.
So since I got the experience of the woodsy person, and I do backpack, mountain climb, and ski, and I have done like 8 14ers in Colorado, have climbed mountains, so they could go for it. Everybody says, hey, you're the closest one.
But wait a minute. But I mean, were you sitting there one day and going, you know what? Alaska sounds good to me about now.
No,
How did this happen?
How did it happen? Well, my boss at work, I've been not collecting, but I've been rescuing really from death of Huskies, because, I fell in love with that breed.
Oh, yeah.
And these are 100% Siberian Huskies. There's nothing wrong with them, nothing at all. They just don't have AKC papers or whatever. So she gave me a can, believe it or not. It was a Yukonuba old 5-gallon can to keep dog food in. I tossed it in the back of my van. It rolled around for months until one day I said, let me get this thing out, because every time you turn a corner, you hear it roll. So I dusted it off, and it says Yukonuba, spewed by, the sled dog spewed by Yukonuba and it says the Alaska, the Iditarod Trail, the last great race. That's what it said on the can. I saw these little mushers on the can. I saw the picture from Alaska to Nome. Now, this can is all rusty, and I'm brushing it off. I'm like, gosh, the Iditarod. Now, I heard about that, but I don't, too much know. So when I got on the computer at home, I pushed in Iditarod, and I pushed, the little find button, and bam! I mean, it just came up, just like crackle and pop. I'm like, wow! And so I was looking in the statistics and stuff, and I realized, and back to the archives, really there has nobody been there that represented Florida.
Well, that's true.
Do you know?
Well, you know what? I believe the reason for that is because it's really, really cold here. Yeah,
okay.
And it's really, really warm in Florida.
It's not really an incentive. I don't think Floridians wake up one day and go, you know what? I'm packing up and I'm going to Alaska.
Well, hey, now, Dietrich, there's something I should let you know. There is a group that every year they are the spearhead of damming the Iditarod dog race.
Oh, yeah.
And they are based out of Florida. As a matter of fact, we had a chance to speak to this woman. She's never been to Alaska.
No.
She's never seen this sled dog race. Have you gotten anybody in Florida to tell you, how can you be a part of this race? Do you know how cruel it is to these dogs?
Do I know how cool it is?
No. Have you
gotten that yet?
Has anybody given you any?
Yeah. I had people that twitch their nose up when I'm training on the streets and going off the. We have a Pinellas Trail here, and the trail is like 47 miles long, and I run it up and down. And the people, they look at me like I'm crazy. They said, that's just grueling race. Oh, it's so damaging to the dogs, blah, 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 blah. And not realizing that every single dog on my team is rescued from the darn shelter.
Yeah.
People say they're a problem child dog. I don't know what's up with this breed.
Well,
they don't come when they're called. They pull too hard. They just do this and that, and that's what I want.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these people don't realize those dogs are bred for that. They're made to run, and they're also not really warm weather dogs. And you know what? Anybody who owns a Husky in Florida may want to even question, why do I own this dog?
But the thing this is what I found out with me, because I have the vets behind me where I work at. I realized that these dogs, it depends on the diet that you feed them. I finally got it down to a science down here, as far south as we are. I realized that if you feed them a meat diet, or you feed them a high-fat diet, or a high-intake diet, they're going to be miserable throughout the summer, because we get like 99 degrees heat.
Sure.
With tropics, we're talking about just like you got parrots flying over. Now this is tropical, So I realized that if you tweak that diet down to just like one meal a day, and just give them the not the super dog food, but just something that just would get them by, and they do fine.
Well, you realize though that then you're going to have to also condition them for racing, because once you go into the cold climate, the diet has to change.
Yes,
that.
that's what I'm doing now. Believe it or not.
Now, have you been able to train your dogs to poop on the go?
Yes.
You did that. Did you read a book to learn how to do that?
I got on Stephen Arley's website, believe it or not. I found it down here.
That's amazing.
And thank God for Stephen Arley. I don't know who the guy is, but I looked on his little website, and there's a lot of little websites on there, that tells you, how to do,
How do you train a dog to poop and run?
Feeding them a fat diet with a lot of the oil in it, and then when they look like they want to squat, my lead dog, I said, let's go, and then he'll keep pulling,
right?
And they have to learn, like, okay, I guess you just gotta just let it all out, and it works.
You didn't lead by example, did you? I said you didn't lead by example.
No.
That might be some of the dirty looks you're getting from those Floridians.
You know what? And these are Floridians with little white shoes and
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
they're looking at me like, that's nasty. I'm like, they're not pretty dogs, and I understand that.
Now, we understand that to qualify for the Iditarod, you've got to finish at least 2 sled dog races, totaling 500 miles.
Yes.
What do you have coming up that's going to allow you to get into the Iditarod?
This is it. This is I understand that the John Bear Grease race in Duluth, Minnesota, but it's 150 miles. That's not a qualifying race, because it's got to be a marathon. In order for me to run the marathon, I have to do a preliminary race to get into the John Bear Grease 350.
Oh.
unless you know off the bat where a place that takes rookies that you can actually get into a marathon, and run it.
I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe there is like the Kuskokwim 400.
Yes, I saw that on the net, but see, that's way up in Alaska.
Right, but what a better place to train
Exactly.
and get your dogs prepared for running, because they're used to running in warmer weather.
Yeah, they were used to running on the beach.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing with this, too, I saw on Stephen Hardy's website that the fastest way that you can actually beef them up and all is putting them in water. Well, here in Florida, it's kind of, here we put them in water
This is a little
because you
water.
got the sharks out there, which
Sure.
are infested. And I couldn't have the dogs on a little dingy boat going out into the ocean
No.
and treading water behind me, and one by one they're going bloop, they're going under the water.
Plus your sled would sink,
Yeah.
and it's really just a pain to try.
That'll be my boat.
Well, you know what?
And so I tried to say, well, maybe I can put them on Seminole Lake. It's a big lake up here called Seminole Lake, but it's infested with alligators.
No.
I couldn't do that.
You definitely, I think, need to come up to Alaska
You got to do something.
and run your dogs up here, get them acclimated to the climate. Now, what you might want to do for all those people, those old people in the white shoes and the plaid pants that give me a hard time.
Golfing all day that has nothing else.
Right. Why don't you say, hey, listen, why don't you take some of that 401k money you've got,
Right.
pool it together, send me up to Alaska so I can compete in the Kuskokwim 400.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me write that down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How much is it already done?
No.
No. Oh, no.
Not?
No. Hasn't happened yet.
I was looking at the Dluth race, and I said, well, maybe I can go to the Dluth.
No, you know what you need to do is you need to call the Iditarod headquarters.
Right. I guarantee you they'll help you. They're great people.
Oh, absolutely. And what great PR, because I'll be honest with you, in the past, we have kind of bagged on Florida just because of this, this
history,
group.
yeah.
The history behind it is that they have tried to ban it. They have tried to go to other corporate sponsors and have them drop because they're supporting this terrible, inhumane race, and they have no idea what they're talking about. Because I always talk about how these dogs die. Fact of the matter is,
But that's the way things go.
Well, there's-
it's just something that happens. It's just one of those things.
What we have heard, and they have done scientific studies on this, is that there's well over 1,000 dogs involved in this race.
Yeah.
And if you took 1,000 dogs anywhere in the world and put them in any place for 2 weeks, some of them are going to die.
Exactly.
Regardless of whether they're running on a sled trail,
Sitting
whether
on the beach.
And these dogs that are in this are the best cared for dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And you know how much you love your dogs.
Yes, I do.
And how well you treat them. I mean, these dogs, I've had the opportunity, I as a matter of fact, got to mush with Joe Reddington Sr., who was the founder of the Iditarod. He was the guy that actually created the competition based on the serum run that took place when these children were dying in Nome, and they needed to get them the serum.
That's Balto.
Right, and I got to meet these dogs, and they just went crazy. He'd bring the sled out, and they would just go nuts because they want to run.
Yeah.
That's what they live
That's
for.
the way my dogs are.
Right.
Yep.
And
There's-
people, they get mad at me because they say, this lady got a bunch of wolves in the backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're getting all upset and everything. They say, what in the frick are you having? She's down the darn, blah, blah, blah. I said, I rescued them from the shelter. They still don't understand.
No, they don't.
You know what? Come on. I rescued them from the shelter, from death. You
Right.
know?
There's one Floridian who tried to run the Iditarod and didn't finish in '99.
He was driving a Volkswagen.
That's right. He just lost his way along the highway. But you'd also, no pressure on you, but you probably, I don't think there's any African Americans who have ever even attempted it.
Three
let
have
alone-
tried.
3 have tried.
3 African Americans have tried, but I don't believe any one of them have finished.
No, you'd go down in history, my friend.
Has there been a woman that have ever
Well,
done
let me tell you about
well,
Susan Butcher.
Susan Butcher.
She's won it 4 times.
yeah.
Yeah, but I would say an African American.
Oh, no, I don't think any African American women have even tried it.
No.
No.
I think Vesepia was going to give it a shot, but she already had her $1 million
already had
from
it.
Survivor. She didn't need to try.
No.
I gotta. I'm looking at this picture of you. You're a front page story, by the way, in our daily newspaper here in Anchorage.
Really?
Oh,
You
absolutely,
gotta send me a copy.
absolutely. You're right there.
Dress?
It's got you with a beautiful. It looks to me almost like a flannel shirt
Yeah.
No, and you're in
It's
Florida.
gotten cooler. Yeah, it's gotten cooler.
with
Yeah,
your Australian Outback hat on.
There you go.
What are you doing in Florida?
My husband, military army. 'Cause
Ah.
my dream was to move out and get a cabin in the mountains in Colorado Springs.
Well, you know what? It sounds to me like you are an Alaskan living in the wrong state.
Yep.
I am. My heart is wrong.
Mm.
And you know what? I would love the name and address of your radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sure.
And if I can get a copy of the tape, that'll be fine.
Oh, absolutely.
And if I can get the Tuska, what's it called? I saw it on the web, but
The Kuskokwim 400.
Okay, how do you spell that?
Oh boy! Now you.
I know how.
Okay.
Kuskokwim.
Okay.
Kuskokwim.
Is that it?
And is it
I
how
think
many miles is that? 500?
400.
400. Yeah.
And you know what? I tell you what we'll do.
Well, you know what?
is-
There's a lot of like racing groups up here that I swear they'd be more than happy to help you out. There's a lot of dog sled associations here. There's different long races, speed race, short track races, associations. They'd love to help you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But there's nobody here in Florida.
Well, no.
I know, but if you like got in contact with these people, then maybe they could tell you what you got to do.
I tell you what we'll do, Dietra. But when we let you go off the radio this morning, you stay on the line, and what we'll do is we'll get your address,
Right.
So we can send you a copy of our interview that I'm
Right.
sure you'd love to have.
Yes.
We'll send you a copy of this morning's newspaper.
Okay.
And so you can read about yourself. It's a wonderful story.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
And I tell you, you need to tell your husband, military up here is very well loved. We love
Absolutely.
our military.
God bless
And
them.
we have
Absolutely.
great military bases, and the benefits are fantastic. And the thing is if you spend a week of summer in Alaska,
Oh, yes.
you'll never leave.
I
You will never leave.
And I tell you
I
what,
want to go.
you got to call Ed Gordon over at BET because I guarantee you'd be all over that network. They'd want to interview you. I'm telling you, whether you,
Oh, yeah.
It's a little thing that and I was getting upset because people were coming to my backyard. They see all the dogs. They throw oranges at them. They throw grapefruits at them.
Hey.
Okay, all right, Dietra,
that's not.
get out.
Yeah.
Get out of Florida.
Okay.
Okay? Listen, you live in a state that looks like a flaccid penis.
These people are crazy.
All right? You are in the wrong state. You need to come up here where you will be welcomed with open arms.
Absolutely.
Where we get it. We understand what life is all about. You need to get out of Florida.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
And now let me just give you a couple little other fine facts that we know about Dietra. In 1990, she was one of 4 women in a class of 60. Starting a 4-year program, she learned how to overhaul and rebuild 500 horsepower diesel engines.
That's right.
Some of the men joked with her, "Hey, Dee, shouldn't you be out baking biscuits or something?"
Nah, you're Alaskan, my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know how to
You
work
are
on
the
diesel
one-
engines? You're a
Yeah.
musher?
That's right.
Listen, I tell you what, you acquire a taste for Copenhagen and Carhartt. It's done, Dietra.
That's right.
All right. Well, I sure thank you guys. You're making tears come to my eyes.
Well, you know what? I
come
tell you what, we support you, honey. We
Thank
we,
you.
we, will, we will
Absolutely.
get behind you 110%. And I tell you what, I will make you a promise. I promise you this, Dietra. If you actually qualify for the Iditarod, and we know it's probably not going to happen this year.
No.
Okay.
But if
No,
you
it's not.
qualify for next year's race, which would be in 2004,
Right.
Mark and I will be there at the finish line,
Yes.
waiting for you with a hot meal of your choice.
Absolutely.
We will fly. We will fly to Nome.
Yes.
And we will greet you at the finish line. All you gotta do is finish. It's only 1,100
I'll
miles.
be the last person coming across. I'm going to be waiting a long time.
It doesn't matter because then you'd win the Red Lantern
Right.
Award.
Oh, the Red Lantern?
Yeah, the person who finishes gets a big prize.
Right. You get a red lantern, and I think you get like $7.
Well, I can buy one.
So I mean, listen. Here's my advice. If you're second
Buy
to
one
last,
bag of dog food.
slow up.
Slow down.
Because being second last is nothing. You get nothing.
You
At least
realize- yeah.
the last person gets the red lantern.
The last person gets the Red Lantern. Oh,
Right.
that's sweet.
Not that we're saying you're gonna win that,
No.
You never know.
but you never know.
You never
Never
know.
I tell you what I'm going to do, Dietra. Tomorrow morning, we're going to call you again about the same time.
Okay.
And I'm going to put you on the line with a very special guest. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but he's going to have some incredible tips for you on running the last great race.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay? So make sure you're home at this time tomorrow.
Yes, I am.
And I'm
We'll
going
work at 10.
and I'm going to conference you with somebody that will probably have some good tips for you.
Okay, what's the name of your radio station?
Well, we're on a couple of them actually. We're on KBFX in Anchorage,
Yeah.
KBS.
FX and KKED in Fairbanks. As a matter of fact, do you have internet?
Yeah.
If you go to www.bobandmark.com,
You'll see us.
you can see us and you can see all about our show and the whole deal.
Okay. Bob and Mark.
Yes.
.com.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
All right, DHO, stay on the line. Don't hang up.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and we'll be right back with you, okay?
Thank you,
And
Bob and
best
Mark.
of luck,
Thank you.
okay?
Uh-huh.
All right, hold on. DHO Morris, how awesome is
Unbelievable.
that?
Unbelievable.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back in the Bob and Mark Show. Good morning, everybody.
Do you understand how that just pops you up in the air? And you get so like big-headed, you know? And you got people doing stuff, but I'm going to let you hear phase 2 of this whole endeavor, okay? I'm still going to be trying to turn pictures. Let me let you hear stage 2, okay? I'll be right back. Now, I got to tell you, I went twice, 2003 and 2004, to the same John Bear Grease sled dog race. I failed both times. I did not even make, the first time I think I went 45 miles of the trail. And the second time I went up there, I went 100 miles of the trail. And the trail was 150 miles long. Both times, the reason why it was squeezed to a stop was because I didn't have my dog handlers that's supposed to be there when I come up off the trail to feed, to water the dogs and rest them. I was trying to do it, but they told me that's not what you're supposed to do, Miss Morris. It's a race. It's a race. You can't do that. The Nordstroms was trying to help me, but it's a race, so I had to scratch out of the race, okay? But this is what egged me on, and this is why I had all these people that if I only had the Holy Spirit would have told me, no, don't take that one with you. Take the first one. I had these other people that were in Tampa. They waited for me. They patiently waited for me to come up with all my dogs. And I have other videos of that to take me down the trail, to go with me, to help me water them, you know, and all this other stuff. I didn't take those guys. I took the ones that were right there screaming in my face. That's why you need the Holy Spirit. If you can't tell, differentiate friend, foe, who would fall apart, who would make it together, you don't have no kind of cognizant mind, the Holy Spirit is what give you the discernment of who to take with you. But I was puffed up after this call. Let me show you. I might just show you a couple of pictures and you will understand as to why. Okay? So I try to get these things in order. I am not good at this at all. I'm trying my best. Okay? Let me get this going so that you can understand how I got puffed up.
Very special surprise for you this morning.
Okay.
All right, Deirdre Morris, in case you didn't hear the show yesterday or you live in a cave, didn't read the paper, she is a woman who lives in St. Petersburg, Florida. You have 3 kids, correct?
Yes, I do.
Mother of 3.
Mm-hmm.
She is an African-American woman. She's been training for the Iditarod.
Yeah.
She basically got interested in it by reading a can of dog food and started rescuing these Siberian Huskies. How many of these dogs do you have?
I have 11 altogether.
All right, so you have 11 dogs, which is about right.
Okay, right off the bat, you're probably going to need a few more.
Yeah, you probably need about 15, 16 to start with.
Easy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Easy.
Now, the person we're about to call
Yes.
is what I would consider part of the upper echelon, the royalty, if you will, of the last great race.
He's one of the greats who have ever run this race.
As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to call him, let you say hello to him,
Okay.
and then we'll give you a little bit of the background about who you exactly are speaking
Right.
with, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so hold on one second. And I got to tell you, before we call him, he doesn't normally do radio interviews.
Oh, boy.
He has only agreed to do this because he listens to our show, he heard about you,
Okay.
and he agreed to give you some advice.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and I'm telling you, Ditra, this is huge.
Yes, it is.
This is huge.
It's for me.
Okay, of who we got. I mean, we're giddy, and we know all about the Iditarod. So we don't expect you yet to get the full effect of who it is we're getting ready to connect you with, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's expecting our call. We're going to call him right now, so hang on, okay?
Okay, sure will.
All right, here we go. We'll do the talking at first, okay, Detra?
Okay, sure will.
I had no idea. None. But after I
Good morning.
got this, I
Hey,
got
hello there.
How you
excited.
It's good. It's the Bob Mark Show.
Yep.
Thank you for being our special guest on the program. Detra Morris is on the other line.
Okay.
Okay, now, we haven't told her who you are yet, sir.
Right.
You're kind of like the mystery guest right now.
Exactly.
And the thing that's amazing to me is what we have here on the phone right now is basically the yin and the yang to the last great race.
Yes.
You've got a woman who lives in St. Petersburg, Florida, beautiful part of the country.
Yeah.
She found out about the Iditarod. Did you hear how she found out about the whole thing, sir?
Sir?
Not really.
She rescues dogs.
Yes.
And there was a can of dog food from Yukonuba bouncing around in her van. And she just happened to pick it up, and on it was like an ad, if you will, talking about the Iditarod.
God be darned.
And
And she
right
looked
then,
it up on the web.
right then she was hooked. She said, "I want to do this."
That's excellent.
Yeah, and so here she is. She's been training in Florida. She has her dogs pull her around on a sled with wheels on it.
Right.
She gets a lot of dirty looks from people that don't understand why she's doing what she's doing.
Yes.
She's very excited. She got tears in her eyes when we told her she was a front page story in our newspaper here in Anchorage.
Sounds like she's just combining one noble cause with another one.
Absolutely. Detra,
Yes.
the man on the other line,
Yeah.
he is well, first of all, he's last year's champion. He won the whole thing last year. I think it was his third victory overall. Is that correct?
Make it 4.
Number 4, sorry. Didn't mean to short you out. He's won it 4 times.
Yeah.
He also happens to hold the record for completing the Iditarod in the fastest time ever.
Got Jeff King?
No.
Oh, come on now, girl. You're
What?
insulting me.
Oh, please. Jeff King serves this man breakfast.
Oh, okay.
This is Martin Boozer.
the number one at that time.
I know about a lot of these
No idea.
mushers, but I only could see them on the my little website here.
He's much
Number
better
one
looking in person.
musher
okay.
in the world
Well, I
at
got a
that
face
time.
for radio, all right.
Couldn't believe
So,
it.
Detra, this is Martin Boozer. He is, he is to the Iditarod what I think Pete Rose is to baseball.
Yeah.
Other than he hasn't been banned.
More like Cal Ripken, I would say.
Okay, very
He's
good.
an Iron Man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're picking the wrong guy.
I'm sorry. Of all the people,
Decided yet.
of all the people, that's right. Of all the
Yeah.
people I could have picked.
Bob keeps striking out.
Hey, I got a question.
Unlike Pete Rose, I did make the Hall of Fame.
That's right.
Hey, I got a question, Martin. Can you bet on yourself?
No, I cannot.
All right, is that part of the rules?
I mean, I always do, but
Right.
not officially.
Okay.
Figuratively.
All right, very good.
Yeah.
So, Detra, we called Martin yesterday
Yes.
and we told him about your story. And he said, well, I really want to give her some advice.
Okay.
So this is as good as it gets, Detra. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better person
Right.
to give you some tips. So, Martin, go ahead and tell her a little bit about the Iditarod sled dog race.
Okay. Well, she says she's got her website up. I'm sure she has informed herself quite a bit about what the race is all about. So, after reading yesterday's article, I think that there's no need for me trying to talk you out of it, right? No, it's on.
What?
It's on.
It's on.
That's excellent. And like I said, I think you're combining one noble cause with another one. The dogs that you're working with certainly deserve a chance to do what they love to do, and that's run. Yes. My worry is that you might not be able to run them enough in Florida because you probably don't have the conditions that let you run 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. Yes, that's the deal right now. Are you having to run them at night? Yes, I do. Yeah, I run them at night. I figured that. Lately, we had Florida type conditions up here. It's been so warm and no snow, so really we had to resort to some of the same training.
Right, we actually have orange trees in Palmer right now. That's how warm it was. Well, Martin, she did figure out how to train her dogs to poop on the go.
Yes.
That's a good skill to have.
which is important. But
For both Musher and dog.
what she needs to do, she's not going to be able to qualify for the upcoming Iditarod.
Right.
Now, is it 400 miles you have to have logged or 500?
500 miles in no more than 2 races. So most people do a 200-mile race and a 300-mile race for qualifiers.
Okay. Now, you just have to finish, is that right?
Some races you have to finish in a percentage, like twice the time of the winner or something like that.
Okay. Now, what are some of the races she could find closer to home? Because we talked to her about the Kuskokwim 300.
Right.
And
they got the Bear Grease in Minnesota.
Right, and there are some races down there. What would you recommend she do? She's only got 11 dogs total. First of all, Martin.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, she'll have to rescue a few more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is okay. I mean, I was thinking about that. That's what I keep saying. That's such a good thing. And unfortunately, people discard, especially your kinds of dogs, a lot because they are so high energy and high strung and need a lot of exercise. In fact, I ran my first 2 Iditarods with registered Siberian Huskies myself.
And how did you do?
So I finished. I finished in the 20th.
But what are the kind of dogs you used last year that broke the record?
Well, these are what we call Alaskan Huskies.
Right.
They're the thoroughbred mutts that just go a little faster.
Sure.
But the Siberians can get you there if you train them enough, and if you treat them right. And I bet she's got a supply of those dogs because unfortunately they have become fashionable, and people realize after a year or so that man, they do need a lot of exercise.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective, Martin, I want you to tell her, how many dogs you have that you pick.
Right.
Your team. Don't you start out with about 15 or 16 dogs?
Well, you have to start with anywhere between 12 and 16.
Okay.
That's 12 is the minimum you have to have at the starting line. So you got to get at least one more.
All right.
But how many dogs do you have total?
At your
I have
camp.
about 85.
85 dogs.
Dying.
That's old, young, geriatric, and puppies.
And I've had the pleasure of going out to your kennels when I was doing the kids show, and they're just so excited. These dogs they love to run, and you can actually see hurt in their faces
When they're not running.
when they don't get chosen to go out and run with you. So at this point, Dietra, you need to get some more dogs.
Okay.
And you have to understand that this is 1,100 miles.
Yes.
And it's not all nice trail. I saw an incredible documentary that they did a couple weeks ago. It's just amazing.
She should go on a tour of the trail first, I would imagine. That would give her a perspective, I would say.
That's what I suggest to people. If they really want to do the race, the first year they should not race it, but they should fly it from checkpoint to checkpoint.
There you go.
And learn by observing all the other competitors. Some guy from Montana did that before he ever ran a race, and that saved him. I think that saved him years of preparation.
Yeah, wasn't his name Doug Swingley?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't he the guy that used to hold the record for the fastest until some kick-ass Alaskan took it from him?
There you go.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, Dietra, he's giving you incredible,
great advice.
helpful advice. That the Iditarod, I understand its mystique and its allure. I love it.
It's brutal.
I love the Iditarod. I think it's just fascinating.
But we love it because we can see it from our living room.
Right.
We can watch it from the sidelines.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're in it, it's a pretty brutal race.
Let me ask you, Martin. The first time you raced it, did you have any idea it was going to be as grueling?
First time I raced it, I don't even remember I was in it.
Really?
Oh, man.
So impressive and so mind-boggling that it took me 2 or 3 times until I started having recollections of what I actually did.
Wow.
It was so overwhelming that I really didn't know, what to do.
Martin.
Now,
Boozer.
what goes through a person's mind out there? You're basically alone, except for the checkpoints
And the dogs.
And how do you deal with the weather? And we understand that there's moose on the trail sometimes. And what are some of the things that a person has to acclimate themselves to complete this? Because a lot of it is mental.
An awful lot of it is mental, but what you have to realize, of course, in our minds, we're never alone. We always have our, trusted buddies with us.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
We have 12, 14, 16 of our best friends along, and that means we're never lonely. But the challenges, of course, are terrain, and, you travel in the middle of the night, and you sleep for 2 hours and you get out of your sleeping bag at 40 below to climb back on the sled again. So there's some of the things that you have to just, mentally and physically get ready for. But not obstacles that can't be overcome.
Now, Dietra, I think the best piece of advice that Martin has given you so far is that you really need to come up and observe.
Yeah.
And watch what happens and get an idea of the magnitude of this race. Because listen, we don't want to squash anyone's dreams.
No.
Especially if their dream is to get more into an Alaskan. I mean, this is history.
Oh, yeah.
The Iditarod is we hope is around forever and ever and ever.
Yes.
We would love for you to compete.
Right.
But there are some concerns.
I think she's feeling it right now.
Right.
The thing is this, I know I can't go up there right now and do it. I know I have to do some races first to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to know what races would take rookies for the first time to be an Iditarod qualifier for the Iditarod Trail.
You know what? The Iditarod has a whole list, and I
a
think it's
website,
even on their website.
It is.
Which races count as qualifiers and where in the world they are. There's some in Europe, there's some in the States, Canada,
The great
and of course
Martin
a lot of them in
Boozer,
Alaska.
who talks to nobody.
And you have to understand, Dietrich, it's not cheap.
No, it's not.
No.
Just to get to these places that have it. I don't think Florida has a whole lot of qualifying races.
No.
So, I mean, you got to pay for yourself and
You
for
gotta
your
have
dogs.
sponsors, man.
And do you have sponsors?
Yes, I have sponsors.
Good.
That's good. That helps.
That's a good start.
That's
Pay the bills.
Yeah.
Now, what I would suggest is, Dietrich, you go to the website and find a list of some of these races that can get you qualified.
Yeah.
Do what Martin says.
Right.
Come up, see if you can just check it out.
Some soul searching too. That's huge.
Yeah.
Because this is a commitment. I'm thinking you're gonna have to have a total commitment here. I would say a couple of years at least.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's at least a 2-year proposition.
Yeah.
But I understand Dietrich's going to go do the Bear Grease.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent. After that, you might have time to come up here right after the Bear Grease, because Iditarod doesn't start till March.
Yeah.
And but the Bear Grease itself will give you a bit of a taste of whether you really like it or not.
It's the 150, the Bear Grease. But
Right.
That's not a qualifier. The marathon is, from what I understand.
Right. But you know what? It'll just give you a taste. It'll be somewhat of an appetizer if you can do 150.
Yeah.
Just do it, 9 more times and you got the Iditarod.
2002 Iditarod champ Martin Boozer on the line with us now with Dietra Morse. She wants to be in the Iditarod. She lives in St. Petersburg, Florida. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk to Martin more about last year's race and how close it was to the perfect race. And Dietra, I want you to think of some questions you might have for Martin Boozer regarding your dream of being in the Iditarod. 1,100 miles.
Yes.
And it's cold out there, baby. All right, you're listening to the Bob and Mark Show. Martin Boozer, Dietra Morse, our special guest on the program. We'll be right back.
Do you understand? I'm the only probably person in the world, woman, that talked to Martin Boozer, who talked back to me. That's what I said, that my eyes were full. And each time I did it twice, I didn't understand, I put all my water bottles inside of my jacket. They all froze up like that. See that? Frozen. 12 o'clock noon. Frozen solid ice. I was trying to smile, but I was disappointed. I scratched out the race. It was only 100 miles. I could have gone 50 miles and done the whole thing, but there was nobody there to do my animals at that time. So that was a scratch out. And I did that twice with a scratch out. And the trails are always marked with a little thing there, arrow. And there are the dogs. Okay? I don't mind the dark. I don't mind the cold. I don't mind 30 below. And when Mr. Normstrom got me, he just threw my sled in the back of the truck and I scratched out, and we called it quits. There was nobody. Bontina, he went back to, to the house because he said he was cold, and he went back. He didn't come back out. The other lady I had up there with me, she bailed out on me on the second day and got mad about something. I think it was because the people, they were talking to me from NPR radio and all that, and she wanted to get in sideways, and they said, are you the musher? And she says, no, I'm not the musher, and she got mad, and that was it. Mr. Normstrom, he was very upset. My daughter's sitting over there eating some food, and there's his son Gary watching TV, and it was so embarrassing because he was asking me, Dee, what happened? This is the second time. What happened? And all I can do is just cry and say, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I always seem to get the team up. What's up with your handlers? They're not there. If you don't have a handler, you scratch out. Well, now I know. I know for a fact what the dealio is. I know for a fact what the dealio is. You have to have the Holy Spirit in your life. He would have told me, don't take that one, take the other lady. Don't take that one, take that the girl over there in Tampa. I had two great people to take up there with me, and I didn't do it. So I scratched out. Well, it works the same way. If you don't have the Holy Spirit, Janis Joplin, you have John Belushi, you have Michael Jackson, you have all the people of the Temptations, and all these people, these famous people that have died. You don't have no Holy Spirit, no Christ in your life, you will go belly up. So this is just a little tidbit of my story, and it gets long, but I want to end it here at 56. I will bless the Lord at all times, and if I would do this endeavor again, I will have the Holy Spirit with me, and I'll be finishing a race someplace, but we'll see about that. You never know, because I have a little girl, and she's 7, and she said something like she likes dogs, and we'll see. We can get on these little 7-year-old races, and I don't know. I'm not going to be the one that pushes her to do something, but keep the Lord in your life at all times. Departer out.